General trend of the questions that you folks have, because I'll tailor what I say to what you are interested in learning. In terms of hypnosis, it's a pretty wide open subject. It's a big, broad umbrella that covers a lot of territory. Basically, anything that your mind controls in the body can be controlled through hypnosis. Being as I'm talking directly to the subconscious level of the mind. So, there are medical applications, dental applications, there are applications for memory enhancement, pain control, body function control, habit, overcoming habits, fears, phobias, and on and on and on. Also, we're frequently called on to work with people with psychic things, with things that have to do with answering questions, finding things, enhancing your memory to know where you put something. Anybody here ever put something away? You know you put it away. It's not something you lost. You know you put it away so that it wouldn't be discovered by somebody and then can't find it. Frequently work with people to help them find those things. Uncovering repressed memories. Your mind is very good at forgetting things. If it wasn't, you'd be in a heck of a. You know, there are a certain amount of what you know, what you've learned over the years that you need on a day-to-day basis, and there's a certain amount of what you know and what you've seen and learned that is pure trivia. And if you let your conscious mind get all cluttered up with all the things that you don't need all the time, it would serve to inhibit your abilities to function. So the mind has the ability to forget things as well. In order to forget something, it needs to know what it is and where it's at. So the things that are meaningful from day to day are generally remembered at some level, and most of that is recoverable to some extent, depending on how much of a thing it was at the moment that you had it. I'm sure you've heard of using hypnosis in forensic applications. The Chowchilla school bus kidnappings in California was the first major use of it. It was publicized in this country after a few years of being dormant. But hypnosis is used quite frequently in interviewing witnesses to determine evidence for trial purposes. Now, there are some restrictions in the court as to what you can use and what you can't and so forth. Basically, if you're going to use it for uncovering evidence, the evidence that you uncover stands in high likelihood of being negated in court. But it can be used to lead the police to the actual person to be corroborated by other evidence. So you have to be very careful about how you handle evidentiary things when you're doing hypnosis.
But you can manipulate memory in the same way.
And that's the reason that you have to be very careful of how you do it. And in that type of work, you have to document everything that you do. You have to use a video camera, you have to use audio tape, clocks, and be able to substantiate everything that you're doing while you're working with the individual. You have to use very tightly controlled methods to do the hypnosis that are widely accepted by well-known hypnotists, and you have to be able to know how to ask questions so that you will not influence the answers.
Is there a time limit on behavior modification? I mean, does hypnosis only last for like 3 months and you have to be rehabilitated?
There's no time on the effects of hypnosis. There are different modalities of using hypnosis, however, some of which are more permanent than others, more beneficial than others. An example would be if I did some stage work and gave you a suggestion that your left hand no longer existed, and you would see that there was nothing but a stump there, okay? If I brought you back out of it, that would last for a while, but sooner or later you would come back to the realization that that was there. That's a negative suggestion. If, however, I was working with you to quit smoking and gave you a suggestion that you would feel wonderful about yourself by quitting, and that you would feel great about quitting because it was going to help your children and your family, and that it would save you money and the benefits of it, and perhaps augment that a little bit with certain other things that I also use in smoking cessation, it becomes a much more permanent thing. It takes more repetition, it takes more work to do it that way, but the effect is much stronger. Now, as far as duration is concerned, the original thing that you're working with had a reason to start. There was an initial causing event for problems that you work with that way. A habit starts smoking, for instance. It's a good subject, by the way. It's a big subject. It's an important subject. It's a good use of hypnosis, but at the same time it's very difficult. Smoking almost always starts with a relationship circumstance. Somebody starts smoking because they want to fit in with the rest of the gang, or because somebody else is over there smoking and they see them apparently relaxed. I want to relax. I'm going through a tough time. Maybe that will help me. So I'll go over with them and smoke. I want to look grown up, so I'll start smoking. Younger kids, a lot of people start smoking in the services, but of course the service is no longer as prevalent as it once was, and as a result people are starting smoking for other reasons, but almost always there's a relationship involved. Okay? Eventually you want to quit smoking. Eventually you'll do something as best you can to get away from the cigarettes. Your level of success is going to depend, if you're doing it on your own, how thoroughly addicted you are, mentally and physically. Addiction, by definition, means it's something that you do to stop pain. In the case of relationships, you do it to stop the pain of loneliness. You don't want to be lonely by yourself when you see the group over there smoking. So you'll start smoking to fit into the group. So you smoke to avoid loneliness. Once you started smoking, you go through a period of time when you have to physically overcome the negative effects of it. Smoking smells like crap. The smoke burns. Burns your eyes, burns your nose. I did it once or twice myself. I never really got hooked on it. I just never could see going past that. But once you force yourself to go past that to be able to smoke, then you start into the point where the smoke starts to pollute your body. The carbon monoxide in the smoke occupies a lot of your blood. Your bloodstream then runs thicker because your body creates more red blood cells to replace the ones that have been plugged. Your blood pressure goes up. The nicotine then starts to regulate parts of your body. It's a very strong, powerful chemical that will regulate the way your body does things. And it replaces the effects of some of the normal things in your body. Nicotine is a very powerful heart regulator, as an example. You take somebody that's got a lot of years on smoking, and they're a 2 or 3 pack a day smoker at 70 years of old age, and get them off smoking suddenly, they're very likely to have heart problems because the heart regulation of the nicotine goes away, and their body has to learn to reproduce that ability. And if it hasn't done it for 40 years, it might take a while to do it. And I can show you a documented case, one where there was a lady over in Quad Cities where I came from, 73 years old. She had smoked since she was 4.